All right, so let's just dive into this together. I need to ask you something. Do you believe you have free will? Like, the feeling you're in control of your decisions? Honestly, I did too. But then physics started throwing curveballs at me, and now I can't look at free will the same way. Let's unpack this idea because, and bear with me here, physics may be telling us that free will is, well, an illusion. Yeah, I said it, so stick with me as I explain why. Okay, let's start with something simple. Imagine walking into an ice cream shop. You're staring at the counter, and you've got chocolate on one side, vanilla on the other. You choose chocolate, and hey, it feels like you made that decision freely, right? But now let's zoom out. What if I told you that the atoms in your brain, the neurons that fired to decide chocolate, were set in motion by a cascade of causes and events going all the way back to the Big Bang? Wild, right? But this is exactly where the physics of determinism comes into play. By determinism, I mean the idea that every event, every choice, is determined by prior causes. In this framework, your choice was inevitable. It had to happen. Mind-blowing, I know. Now let's crank things up a notch. Enter Newtonian mechanics, good old classical physics. Newton's laws tell us that if you know the position and velocity of every particle in the universe at a specific moment, you can basically predict the future. This is like a cosmic script written out before time even began. Of course, Newtonian physics assumes the universe operates like clockwork, like a machine. So, if that's true, and if you're a part of the universe, then your brain operates like a part of that machine too. Your choices? Pre-scripted, according to these laws. It's almost like you're following a pre-recorded movie. Does that make anyone else a little uncomfortable? But now you might be thinking, hey, wait, what about quantum mechanics? Doesn't quantum mechanics, with its uncertainty principle, throw determinism out the window? Great question. Quantum physics introduces randomness at the microscopic level, true. For instance, if you have a radioactive atom, you legitimately can't predict the exact moment it'll decay. All you can know are probabilities. So, does this randomness give us free will? Not exactly. Randomness isn't the same as choice or control. Let's be real. Your decisions, your choices, need to feel like they're yours. But quantum randomness? That's more like rolling dice. You wouldn't call rolling a 6 on a dice free will, right? It's just chance. So no, randomness doesn't save the day for free will. Frustrating, I know. Let's take an even deeper dive into quantum biology. Some researchers argue that quantum effects in processes like photosynthesis or brain activity might play a role in giving us free will. Might. But here's the thing. There's no solid experimental evidence that quantum indeterminacy actually influences the complex electrical and chemical systems in your brain in a way that gives rise to free will. For now, it's just fascinating speculation. If anything, we're still stuck wondering whether those systems are deterministic after all. And speaking of the brain, let's talk neuroscience. Brace yourself. There's a famous experiment by Benjamin Libet that shook the foundations of our understanding of free will. Libet asked participants to move their wrist whenever they felt like it, while simultaneously measuring their brain activity. Here's the kicker. The EEG readings showed readiness potentials in the brain starting milliseconds before the participants were even conscious of their choice to move their wrist. It's as though the decision was made subconsciously, and then your conscious mind just took credit for it afterward. Sneaky, huh? More recent experiments have supported these findings, suggesting that what we interpret as free will might actually just be our brain reporting something it already decided, like a press release from your neurons. Now I get it. This sounds bleak. But let's take a moment to dig into why this doesn't necessarily mean life is purposeless or meaningless. Here's where things get philosophical. Suppose we accept that free will, as most people imagine it, doesn't exist. Does that mean the game of life loses its magic? I don't think so. Think about the game of chess. Every move you make depends on the state of the board. But even knowing this doesn't ruin the excitement. The beauty lies in how the game unfolds. your mind navigating through all these preordained possibilities. Even if you're leaving footprints on a path that was already there, the act of walking that path is still very much your journey. Let me also point out that just because determinism, or randomness, governs processes, doesn't mean we can predict everything. Far from it. Take weather systems, chaotic, insanely complex, technically deterministic, yet practically unpredictable. The human brain is way more complex than any storm. So even if our choices are determined, they're determined in ways that are impossible to fully foresee. Now there's an idea to chew on. You might not have free will in the strictest sense, but that doesn't make you less fascinating, less vibrant, less human. Let's circle back. What does this mean for accountability, for morality? I mean, if no one really has free will, how can we blame anyone for anything? This is where the free will debate hits society. If all actions are inevitable, then does it mean we let everyone off the hook for bad deeds? Philosophers have wrestled with this for centuries. Many come to a compromise, what we call compatibilism. Compatibilists argue that free will and determinism can coexist as long as we redefine free will as the ability to act according to our desires and reasoning. Even if those desires are themselves determined, the fact that we're reasoning, thinking creatures gives us moral responsibility. It's a neat idea, and one I personally find comforting. So, where does that leave us? Is free will dead? Not quite. It's evolving, shifting under the lens of physics, neuroscience, and philosophy. It forces us to re-examine what it even means to choose. And here's my challenge to you. Maybe the question isn't whether or not we have free will. Maybe the better question is, what will you do with the illusion of choice you've been given? Because whether or not it's real, the illusion can still inspire, can still lead to change, to discovery, to action. And as humans, we're pretty good at turning what-ifs into meaning, aren't we? I hope this gave you a renewed appreciation for why the search for free will is so deeply compelling. If you're as obsessed with these ideas as I am, hit the subscribe button. It helps grow this amazing little community we're building together. And don't forget to drop a comment below. Do you think free will is real? I'd love to hear your perspective. Stay tuned for more rigorous science and uncomfortable truths. Stay hyper-focused and never stop questioning the choices you think you make. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.